thank you very much for coming tonight. Depending on when you signed up, you have got us at quite an interesting time. We put the meetup live on Thursday, so we've not had too much time to get this prepared, but hopefully you can see that quite a lot of effort's gone into it, and hopefully it'll come across okay. Now, there's a couple of interesting things about what I talked to you about tonight. Essentially, we want to do these events all the time. We want to do them at least once a month. This is the first one that we've ever done, and there are a few reasons for us doing them, and we're going to go through them all tonight. I'm going to be dead open and honest with it. But one thing that is definitely worth getting off my chest straight away is, my name's Stuart Kirby. My name is not Martin Payton. So I sincerely wish my name was Martin Payton at this point, so my title is trainer/imposter. So just a little bit about the trainer role. I teach at Amaze. I manage our Amaze Academy. So I've got 6 people in my team, dotted around at various points in here, and they're part of our training program. And the first 6 months of their employment here is in this training thing, and I'm kind of responsible for that. I also do stuff like this too to kind of keep me busy, which is good. I'm an imposter because I am not our technical director, Martin Payton, who would have loved to have been here tonight, but he's not. So that's for the benefit of the video. He's not here. Can't believe it. So that's not really changed much. The itinerary is still pretty much the same thing. How many of you guys had heard of Amaze before? That's quite good. So not everyone, but a fair few. So the goal of tonight is to tell everyone what Amaze is and what Amaze do and all the kind of interesting things that we work on. And for those of you that have heard of us before, to kind of, if there are any gaps, we're going to spend around 10 minutes doing that. We're going to show you our show reel as well. You saw a little bit of the show reel outside. That's a much longer one. The one that I show you in here is a bit more concentrated. So, Amaze. If you've heard of us before, you'll know roughly, if you checked out our new website, we're a leading global full digital marketing and commerce consultancy. It's quite a snappy way of describing ourselves, I think you'll agree. To some people, they know exactly what that means, which is amazing. And it really is amazing. Some people don't know what that means. So what I've decided to do, before trying to explain that to you, because there's just not much point, we're going to show you. Okay, so we're going to show you our show reel, and you can get a feel of some of the clients that we work with, and some of the projects that we work on. And then we're going to get to the heart of tonight's talk, which is going to be on VR and how we've used it. Maybe. No? It really is. that's our show reel, and that's some of the stuff that we work on. Now we've got a lot more than that going on, but that's kind of a nice concentrated snippet of them. The show reel outside goes through, oh it works now, that's nice, isn't it? It goes through a lot more of our projects and things, so if you ever do fancy just staring at a wall that appears to have nothing going on, check out our show reel outside. There's no sound, but it's cool. So, I did an event recently at Manchester College, several of us did, Manchester College's Openshaw campus, and one of the students came up to me at the end and said that she has a quote wall at home. This is a nice story, I'm looking forward to this, like, okay. And I thought she was going to say something that Art said was going on a quote wall. I thought, this is nice, you know, I've said something inspiring, we're helping the next generation. But no, what she actually said was 5 million new fish fanatics in 3 years is going on her quote wall. Okay, fair enough. You know, but I'm going to try harder at the next event. But, you know, 5 million new fish fanatics, not many companies can say that. So we create global digital experiences for leading brands. So once again, it's fairly heavy language there, but essentially we're looking at the word experience. So we're not just saying websites, we're not just saying this particular product, it's the whole thing. So a company like Amaze, we do consultancy, we do brand management and even brand creation at some level. So Saucy Fish, for example, we did a lot of work with those guys in developing their brand. So there's quite a lot going on. We're based in Manchester primarily. This is our biggest office, but our HQ is down in London. We're also in Liverpool, and we have an office in Chicago as well, which is a joint venture. So it is a global company, but very much with roots in the Northwest, and we're looking at trying to build on those by doing these tech talks, by trying to reach out to you guys, not just necessarily the developer community and things like that, but the digital community in Manchester. So if you are a developer in here, we definitely want to speak to you tonight, but if you're not, we still really want to talk to you guys as well, because this isn't a one-off event. We are going to do several of these, okay? So we're looking for technical people all the time, but we're looking at many disciplines too. So we started our tech talks for one clear reason and one clear vision really, and it's to do with community. If you look at meetup.com or anything like that, there's so many people just like you all across the city, all across the country, but we can't reach everyone I suppose, but all across this city that are really, really talented, and we want to share ideas with you. We want to talk to you, we want to generate things with you and really get involved. So we've never done anything like this before, and a company like Amaze, not necessarily uniquely positioned, but very, very well positioned to make a great contribution to these tech meetups and things like that. So that's why we decided to do it. At the heart of it, it's about sharing ideas and talking to like-minded people. It's great for you guys and it's great for us as well. So the idea of being involved and engaged, we've kind of spread this across a few different areas. So we've looked at working with education, which we're doing quite a lot at the moment, and now it's kind of moving, well not moving away, but kind of taking another avenue. So we've got education sorted, we're working really, really well with those guys, and now kind of professionals and budding professionals too. So what we're going to look at, the tech talks that we will do at Amaze will generally be around 30 to 45 minutes in length, and they're generally going to be around tech. But tonight is a little bit more informal, it is a little bit more laid back. It's just to get you guys used to us, used to each other, because hopefully you'll attend more than one of these, and we don't need to really describe Amaze again. Let's hope, anyway, you know, let's remember, you know, Amaze is a cool brand. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit tonight about some of the stuff that we've done with one of our clients using virtual reality. Now the idea of pushing boundaries in technology is what we're all about, and that's what we really want from you guys. What next? Yeah, so Amaze can do that, what next, but the more people that kind of get involved in sharing these ideas, you know, the more innovative ideas that will come up, I'm sure. So this again came up from an event that I was doing, and I said this to somebody, and I realised how cool that is. I've driven a Lexus, but I don't have a driving licence. It's like, wow, and to this day I still don't have a driving licence. I'm quite tragic really. At 29 I don't have a driving licence. But that's quite a big deal, and when I said that I thought, okay, that's pretty cool, and the person that I said it to was just confused. And then I was kind of thinking, that's really cool, so I walked away from them and they remained confused. So hopefully they'll see this video and go, ah, that's what he meant. Now, I did realise when I put this slide together as well, that it may not be that surprising to drive a Lexus without a driving licence, because I am from North Manchester, but stick with me on this one. I'm from Harper Hay specifically, so it wasn't really Lexus, it was more of a Nova, something like that, but it was okay, we all had fun, we all had a good time. So, virtual reality. Who's heard of Oculus Rift and things like Oculus Rift? And who's had the opportunity to play with one of them? So, not many, but some. And did you love it? Did anyone not like it? That's good, because if anyone put your hand up then it was the fire exit. Because the whole thing hinges on Oculus Rift. So, virtual reality. We're talking a little bit, and we're going to show you a little bit about what Amaze have done with it, but to be honest with you, it's just the context. We're just trying to show you some of the stuff that we do. What we'd like to do from like 7:30 onwards isn't really talk too much about what Amaze have done, but you guys talk about what you think you could do with VR and things like that. That's much more interesting to us. We know what we've done, and we definitely want to show you what we've done. But what next? What could come from VR, looking based on what we show you? So, Oculus, an incredible visionary company in a way. VR has existed in many, many capacities before. I think a really interesting example would be Nintendo's Virtual Boy. I don't know how many have heard of that? The Virtual Boy. 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. Wow, that's about one more than heard of Oculus, to be fair. So that's quite good. So the Virtual Boy obviously was a stunning piece of equipment and inspired everything that came after it to a degree. But Oculus actually works, which is quite cool, as you'll see in a little while. Now, Oculus is one of the most successful of its kind. It's still not launched yet, but it will come. And the idea of having this headset is essentially a screen that's attached to your head. Well, what's the difference? What's the difference between having a screen this close from your eyes as opposed to having it this close? What can you get? Now, we can talk about this for ages, but please, please, please try and play. We've got 2 Oculus set up in the next room, so when we're done and I've shut up for a bit, go and play with them and see. And what we used it for was working with Lexus. We created a unique experience for their customers, and their unique experience was exactly what I described before, and that is to let customers experience a car that essentially didn't exist in showrooms at that time. So Lexus wanted their customers to be able to go, right, there's a particular car Lexus are working on, I want our customers to be able to go and test drive it or sit in it and this kind of thing, but it's not in showrooms. How do you do that? You can't do it on a monitor, but it turns out you can do it with virtual reality. And again, when I was told about this, I was like, that sounds cool. But when you actually experience it, it's tremendous that just how well it works. Customers were able to virtually test drive the new NX before the car was in showrooms. Now, there's a few different experiences and a few interesting things from this. The project was that successful, and the idea of virtual reality actually working, something new that actually worked in the way that it should do. Lexus loved it, and they wanted to roll it out across a few different things. It wasn't just test driving, it was, well, what would the car look like if I went for that extra optional kind of carbon fibre interior, something like that. Now before, that existed in a catalogue, kind of like, well, it looks like that, or on a website, but now you could actually experience it, move your head around, and you could see different avenues of the car. And it really, really is a huge, huge leap forward. So there's quite a lot that you can do with virtual reality. We used it with Lexus, and we used it for cars. Now, that's kind of what we did. What do you think we can do? Please, please have a go later. I know at an event like this, half of you won't, but please, 100% of you, go and play with it, because it's really, really good. Because it's bloody brilliant, in fact. It's not really good, it's bloody brilliant. So have a play with it. So that leads us on to kind of like this next part. It wasn't film, okay? We've got something where you're kind of going around a track of a film, but you saw in the show reel 6 miles of CGI road created. It wasn't just have a film, kind of move your head around, boom. This was serious, serious technology, and that's the kind of thing that we do here. I said before that we're doing a lot of work with education. There is a genuine digital skills gap. We know there's a digital skills gap, but it's not just at the junior level. It's not just there's not enough juniors coming into the industry. It's really hard to find people in the industry. And companies like Amaze that do all this innovative, kind of really intense technical stuff, really need technical people and people that want to be a part of this. What it also needs is people that love it and live and breathe it, and that's why we're kind of reaching out to you guys as well. People that will give up their evenings to come and spend an evening like this and look at the kind of work that Amaze does. We love you, you know, essentially, so we want to talk to you, we want to be in dialogue with you. So, the potential of VR. I've got a few thoughts on this, I'm sure everyone's got a few thoughts on this, and what I'd like to do is kind of open it out now. What other uses of VR could there be, do you think?
I teach computer game development, which is real. It's a genuine thing. And what's amazing is, in this world I live in, of computer games, we've had Oculus in, and they come up with maybe like 2 ideas for a game, and then they come up with 20 ideas that are absolutely nothing to do with computer games. Now, that's a problem for me for marking, but it's really, really cool because they start to come with, some of them quite obvious, but they start to create the idea of worlds for medical, they come up with museum ideas, the ideas of using it in a green environment, and these are students who are pretty much focused on being sat there like this most of the time, without prompting, talking about other areas. I think, really cool. Although I'm not even on some potential of VR, I'm talking in the way people think. There's something in it that's changed the way that somebody who's 17 years old sees creation in front of them.
I think that's pretty interesting. So, kind of VR, it's almost like a different way of interacting with what essentially is a computer. And I think we've had a few things like that in technology before. I think probably the most significantly recently that we've all experienced is probably multi-touch, something like that, the idea of touching instead of this disconnect with the mouse, something like that. I think VR does kind of take that one step forward potentially, and if you can get people thinking a little bit differently than they did before, then that's quite cool. What kind of ideas were there with museums?
With the museum, Pete, I mean, we always look at ways of showing work off. We do a lot of different things, and even just like 3D models in the museum and then having it to walk around. We do interview shows with it every year, but the problem is getting a space that will want to do it for free is a nuisance. So someone said, well, let's just make one ourselves and sit people in the room, stick a headset on and put a drink in their hands and leave them to it for a while. And that was absolutely fascinating. But even the possibilities of museums that want to expand but can't afford to expand. Land is such premium in the city centres right now. There's not a lot of funding for it, but you can get to some dark, dingy, damp corner back of the Natural History Museum and have a space that is much bigger than what they've actually got in bricks and mortar.
Cool. I think that actually ties in something we could do if we, if everyone had an Oculus Rift, you wouldn't have to come in. You just kind of put the headset on, you forget the traffic, the 80 mile an hour winds, you could just dial in at home. Imagine how cool that would be. So I'll speak to my boss and say, let's buy some for you guys. Because obviously you came to the first one, we really want to look after you. Any others? Any other kind of thing?
Well, I work in travel, and one of the hardest things when you're dealing with a customer is trying to convince them or tell them about a place if they've never been there. And I was at World Travel Market last week, and the Korean stand had an Oculus Rift set, and they were using it to show what Seoul was like. So it was like a virtual walk around of the city, and then they linked it into the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics as well. So they simulated a kind of a ski jump as well. So one of the hardest things is that when you're talking to someone over the phone or online, you're trying to tell them where somewhere is like without actually either having been there yourself or they've never been there. So maybe some sort of like Google Maps link up with the Oculus Rift set so you could walk through a place without actually having been there yourself.
I think that, and again, it's a really, really good point. Essentially, it is Google Maps, isn't it? It's like Street View. Street View. But yet, when it comes to VR, it's better. It's kind of like you've got this on even your 30-inch monitor, whatever it might be. You're there, you can see it. Google have done it, essentially. But why does VR make such a difference? And it kind of just does. It becomes more immersive. Why does it become more immersive? I don't really know, but I think travel is a really, really good one. Are there any others that you can think of?
I like the idea of like manuals, interactive manuals.
Cool.
So things like engineering work, how to build things. Like, say, think of an IKEA flat pack. You can build that before you abysmally fail in real life.
Me?
Well, anyway.
Oh, really? Is that right?
IKEA.
Fair enough, you know me so well.
Bound to fail with IKEA. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that. Engineering for like British Gas, say, working on boilers, things like that, you can really get the feel of nuts and bolts, even with, like, say, force feedback or something.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Further training in avoiding danger. Sorry, stuff like
it's
that.
alright.
Like emergency services and things like that.
Yeah.
Where there is a danger there, eliminate the danger, but have it as real as possible. Even stuff like airline safety, things like that. There's like loads of situations where they have to put themselves in danger, fill the place with smoke, but you wouldn't have to. But you still get the sensation.
That's similar to the army thing as well, like helicopters, you know, going, you know, submerging underwater,
Exactly,
etc.
yeah.
I mean, you could do that virtual as opposed to physical.
And that is inherently incredibly dangerous. Like
Yeah.
having to ditch a helicopter, and they still do that. I think they do it at UCLan University. They've got a big pool and they ditch people in there, but it's like, you know, doing a risk assessment for that would be...
Yeah.
Be interesting. I think what is great, 1 second prompt, one thing that is great is it's not even launched yet. You know, I don't think it comes... 2016 certainly, probably some point in the first 4 months, but all of these things that you can kind of come up with, and it's not launched, it's in the dev stage. Aaron.
It's something as simple and as everyday as internet shopping. Let's say you go on Tesco website.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're looking for that one product and you just don't remember what exactly it's called. But if you've got the VR, you can like virtually be there, look up the shelf, down the shelf, left, right, and then you'll find it.
Funnily enough, we were talking about that just today, kind of the Amazon thing or the posh furniture shop. You go and see the products as well, rather than it just being a flat image on a website. Suddenly you're in the room with them.
There's just like one problem with it, except they're like Tesco or whatever, they just keep moving their products around.
Yeah, they do.
So,
Well, that's good because we can keep pushing updates, then paid updates, Tesco 3.0 kind of thing. So that's good. Getting digital mindset. That's brilliant for us. You know, Jacob.
If you looking for a new house or somewhere to live, then instead of having to view 20 houses in travelling around like Manchester or wherever, you can just view all 20
Kind
in
of one kind of thing. Yeah,
True.
really good.
I was going to say that, but
Oh right.
I thought of another one as well. Say you want to go conquer Everest.
And you can't be bothered. Absolutely, yeah.
So you know where to go. You've briefed on a lot of the things.
Yeah, kind of like plan it out first and things like that. Kind of, because you can't really practice that, can you? You've got to do it. So suddenly you can practice something really, really dangerous. Someone over here?
Yeah. I thought, well, but I'd love to do something for disabled that they can't get out and do anything, so they could just wear it and go and experience
Yeah.
things.
Kind of see what other
Yeah.
people see. Yeah.
Because it is that immersive experience. If you have played with it, it really does make you feel because of the disorientation and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where it probably benefit those.
Definitely.
I was just going to say, I remember The Lawnmower Man, that film from the early 90s.
At least someone does.
I remember, because I grew up in Portsmouth, and in one of the arcades in Southsea, they used to have the full like virtual reality setup. I used to think it was so cool, even though it made you slightly sick, and it was really like basic graphics. But I always thought, one day there will be a FIFA like it, and you'll be able to be the player in the game, pass the ball around as if you're, I don't know, Messi or Ronaldo or someone like that.
Aguero.
Or Aguero. But you will be that player in the game, and you'll be able to run around, and you know you'll be able to score a goal. But it will be as if you are the player.
Yeah.
And maybe one day it will come about.
I think someday soon. I think.
Yeah.
Excellent. To build on what like people say in consumer markets, think especially in like the B2B market, like if you have like international clients, they don't have to come to where you are, they can just like view your work or the product straight from where they are, so it saves on like transport and communication.
Most of these things obviously B2C, but yeah, B2B, there's a lot of potential there that is less obvious, which is quite cool.
I just want to be really boring with something. Oh, this is really great and fantastical, but I do, as a 3D artist, I'll call myself, developer, hobbyist, whatever. I spend more time doing really boring objects than I do really interesting objects. For example, I designed some wardrobe interiors the other week, which was a really nice use of my Sunday morning. But actually what I spend a lot of time doing is trying to create a way of showing a client what it actually looks like. And in reality, this solves all the problems, because I don't sit wasting time doing fancy lighting. I just go, there it is, get in it, see it, not the wardrobe, but get in the wardrobe. But even stuff like say furniture or buildings, you know, the days of these really beautiful images that are a bit overblown can be replaced by real usable things. And it's not always, as much as I'd like to be messy, it's not always about being glorious. It's actually quite a practical thing. One in every household, putting it on, quickly checking it, job done.
Really interesting in that we're kind of one game. Everything else hasn't been a game, and you can think of so many games. And I think that for something when it's not a game, it's kind of like it's real life problems solved, like in a way that an image, a phone isn't going to do multi-touch, for example, isn't going to do, a mouse isn't going to do, but VR potentially could do.
I think maybe something medical, like surgeries and stuff like that, especially in training anyway.
Yes, in training,
obviously.
Yeah. Academy stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that,
A guy's made that already. It's brain surgery. Yeah. He's made that already.
It's like
There's been
surgeon
operations done
Heard
from
of
one
surgeon
side.
simulator,
Simulator,
Steve?
Yeah.
Come on,
That's just way too
It's NHS, isn't it? You know, it's so many different things, and this is kind of why I chose the topic of VR for tonight, really, in that there's so many avenues and there's nothing that you can really be wrong with, because it is expansive. It could be used anywhere. I suppose the trick, and this is something that we always think about at Amaze, the trick is why. So always try and think about why do you do this. So there's so many things that you can do. Why do it? And a company like us, the kind of magic and rigor thing that we have, the question's always asked, why do something like this? And with virtual reality, that kind of open-ended question, the potential of it, it's kind of, limitless might be stretching a little bit, but it potentially could be. You could do so many things with it, and it's about trying to find the best uses for it, where it makes the biggest differences.
So, is it a case where people are now asking Amaze about it with their own ideas, or do you think we've still got a nice sort of honeymoon period where designers have got a bit of time to develop this and come up with ideas which will then be pitched to companies? With all the technology, it tends to be, you know, like websites. These heads eventually learn what it can do and start to come up with their own ideas. It can almost ruin it a little bit.
Yeah, it seems to be very much recommendation from agency stage rather than people come in say, oh, we want this. But it is going to change, and I think that Oculus in particular is still a little bit hobbyist, it's still a bit geeky, even though it's there, it's coming, and it could change so many things. It's still a gaming device. That seems, that's its market, that's the way it sells itself, but it could be so much more, and I suspect it probably will be. Particularly, I think Sony are doing one as well, aren't they? That's kind of linked in with PlayStation.
It was called Morpheus, but yeah, but I don't know what it's called now.
HTC as well, they're doing one.
HTC are doing it.
It's a Steam one, yeah.
There's a Steam one as well, so you can see.
Oh, that's the HTC one.
Oh, that's the HTC one. Games. Oculus, much smaller than Sony, obviously, but Sony kind of came to the party after Oculus. It'll be interesting to see kind of where it develops. Obviously, nobody knows where it's going to develop yet, and that's why we're kind of talking about it now. But games are just one aspect in many, many others. But the key thing I'd like you to take away from, I suppose, our tech talk on this is why. Why? The potential of VR, we know that it's massive. We know the scope is huge. But why, and what can we do with it that could change everything? In a particular sense. So is it going to change the world? Well, it could do. I suppose something like this. Multi-touch, for example, was never going to change the world, but it might change how you interact with your phone. Virtual reality could change the world for a lot of people, as you said about disabled people before, lazy rock climbers, you know, things like that. There's so many things that it could potentially change someone's world. And I think that the technology behind it is what we're really excited about. So, guys, that's pretty much our first tech talk. The event is on for another hour, so please go and play with the Oculus Rift and see how cool they are. Have a chat, have a beer, have some sandwiches, and thank you very much.